Live from the Talking Joe Studios. It's Talking Joe with Chief and Mark.
Talking Joe weekly podcast. Talking Joe is there. Talking Joe thought we would last. Talking Joe is there. Fighting each other like a married couple. Our podcast on the air. Talking Joe is there.
Talking Joe is the code name for a completely untrained special podcast force. Its purpose, to produce a weekly comic review show and serve as an outlet for Chief's creative talents and unleash them upon the world.
Talking Joe. Talking Joe is there. Chief is on his soapbox. Nobody seems to care. Fighting for fandom wherever there's trouble. The podcast on the air. Talking Joe is there. Talking Joe. Talking Joe.
Talking Joe is on the air, and here are your hosts, Chief and Mark.
Hey, hey, hey! We are back. I am the Chief Dogtown, and you are...
It's the return of the Mark. Yeah.
Sure is.
Once
sure
again.
is. We've been pumping out a lot of content recently. Seems like I was only talking to you yesterday.
Yeah, I feel like I've been doing nothing but Talking Joe lately.
Yeah.
I've been recording, editing, singing stupid songs.
That's it. That's it. And watch out, Jim Godfrey, because there's another one coming up today. More on that later. How you been, though?
Is it
overall?
the objection to the song as a concept, or just the repetition of the song, though?
Who knows? Who knows?
Would not dare to sort of try and, go
Inside Jim's mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's for him.
I've got a real problem here. I've just been dicking around with my amazing Yamaguchi cable figure while you've been speaking, and he's got a movable eyeball. And I've just been trying to move the eyeball, and I think it's just dropped out into my cup of tea.
The eyeballs in your cup of tea?
I think the eyeball's in my tea. Shit. Anyway, that's a problem for tomorrow's chief. Well, actually later on's chief.
Well, and also if you drink the tea and the eyeball.
Yeah. Don't want to be sucking no eyeball. That's like tell you what I watched the other day.
Indiana Jones?
Yeah,
No?
Temple of Doom, where it's what is it? Something snake surprise, chilled monkey brains. Then they have a soup, don't they? And there's an eyeball floating in it.
Yeah, is it sheep's eyeballs?
Sheep's eyeballs. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Ah, sneak surprise.
What's the surprise? Give me your hat. Why? Because I'm going to puke in it.
Apart from that, how you been?
Yeah, all right. We had New Year's.
We did.
We dropped a new pod on New Year's. Ooh, it was a late New Year's Eve that it was actually released, or / New Year's Day when we let people know about it. But yeah, just a chilled New Year's Eve in as it should be, because we're supposed to be behaving, and sort of caught the surprise London kind of fireworks on the TV.
Okay.
Teeny tiny bit of Alicia Keys seeing the year in as well. What about you? Was it a late night or an early night?
I played Star Wars Battlefront with Ben, and I went to bed at about 11:30 maybe, or 11, and then downstairs was having a massive party which kept me up for at least another hour. There you go. I'll tell you what though, we do have to do this. Inside Chief's mind.
It's dark. It's cold. Can you be brave? Can you be bold? Say to get on, you don't know what you'll find. Digging in deep into Chief's mind. Inside Chief's mind.
Now then, something annoyed me the other day.
People.
And it involved people. And I was at the supermarket getting some shopping, and back in the day when you first had these kind of self-service checkouts, and it always used to be like 10 items max.
Right.
And you'd always get some kind of chancer who'd have a basket for about 20 items, and you wait for the attendant to either say something or not. But they kind of have dispensed. I've not seen any 10 items or less signs for many years now.
Yeah, they just want people using them, and so they don't have to pay people.
However, I do see basket-only signs, And lo and behold, Chief got stuck behind 2 numpties with shopping trolleys in the self-service bit. There's only I think there's 8 self-service bits in my local Sainsbury, and 2 of them were clogged up by idiots with shopping trolleys. Had about 50 items in, doing their weekly shop.
Poof.
And not only that, but they were blocking the aisle, so I couldn't even... I'd done my shopping, and there was these 2 big shopping trolleys that barring me from getting out. So there you go. Yeah, stop taking shopping trolleys into the basket-only section, chumps.
Yeah, I mean, the logistics of just having that amount, trying to, get it onto the tiny little scanner and then put it into the next thing. Oof.
Yeah, not happy. Chief wasn't happy, but there you go. Other than that, though, ringing in the new year. Look out for an Out of Timers letterboxed year in review special. Find out if Chief did or did not make the 200 for the calendar year. That will be coming. I think I'm recording that next week, so that will probably be dropping next weekend.
Good stuff.
And I never want to watch another film for the rest of my life. So ruined, as Ben says, Chief ruining hobbies in 2020. Got into electrics in a big way, ruined it for him. Got into action figures, ruined it for him. Movies, he said he hates watching movies now because all he saw was just a target of having to continuously watch movies. So, Chief, ruining hobbies in 2020.
The whole of movies, right?
Yep, there you go. Anyway, listen, I want to segue now into talking about some action figures. Action figures. We all love them. We all love them. Action figures. Oh yeah. They bring us joy in our daily lives. Bring us joy. Action figures. Yeah. Evoking memories from our childhood. But now we're grown and we just can't stop. Buying plastic till our wallets pop. When will it end? Who can say? 'Cause action figures are part of our DNA. Some people say maybe we've gone a little wacko, but action figures bring us joy like a rainbow. They are so hot like a splash of Tabasco. Now it's time for action figure fiasco. Now it's time for action figure fiasco. Okay, on the slate this week, the Chief has got a 6-inch 1/12 scale Star Wars Black Series, and it is Commander Bly from the Clone Wars era. Now, at first glance, he looks a little bit like Cody. Commander Cody, because he's got that same colour scheme. It's the beigey sand tan with a bit of brown. And I don't actually know what distinguishes him from. Maybe it's the shoulder pad. Bly's got the kind of dark brown shoulder pads. And off the top of my head, I can't think what Cody. I think he's just got a yellow pauldron.
I do confess I get them all a little bit confused. I mean, they are clones, so easily done. But sort of distinguishing one from another and which is which, and if there's any particular traits of one over another.
They released a load of these early on in the Black Series run, and this is actually a reissue. It's just come out. It's a reissue, but I think it's completely the same mould. Now, what they did recently is with the Stormtrooper and the Clone Trooper moulds, they switched them to single jointed elbows and single jointed knees, whereas these early ones are double jointed, which double jointed supposedly gets more articulation, more bend, but these new single jointed Stormtrooper and Clone Trooper, it's got a very clever kind of hinged elbow, and you can get a lot of articulation out of it, and it hides the pins, it hides the join, which is nice. So from a cosmetic point of view, it looks better. But this reissue, these are all double jointed ones, but in fact they don't look too bad, and just I think because of the colours splashed around, it kind of hides a lot of the joins. Great figure, comes with 2 pistols, with 2 holsters, comes with a big long blast rifle. He's got some soft goods, he's got a cloth skirt at the back. The paint apps are not overly clean, when they're kind of a little bit chipped and wearing away paint, which makes it look kind of, he's been in battle and stuff. He's got the visor that comes down over his eyes to do some kind of heads-up display. But overall, great figure. But now the problem I've got is he's the only Clone era guy I've got. I suppose I've got Sabine, but I suppose she's after Clone Wars. But now I want to get them all. I want to get. There's a re-release coming of Gree, who's the clone in the green squad. Then you can get Wolf, who's one of the blue ones, and Wolf has just shown up in season 2 of Rebels, which I've just started. Episodes 3 and 4 of season 2. Wolf's shown up, and he's the blue guy. Rex is he getting a re? I think no, he's not getting a re-release. I think Cody might be getting a re-release, and Rex, and there's another guy in red. Who's the guy in red? Can't think what his name is. Fox, I think it's Commander Fox. But these guys are quality, so now I want to get them all, unfortunately.
Poof. But just it's the clone troopers that kind of is the main draw.
The commanders,
of that
clone commanders. I probably won't get any clone troopers, and I probably won't get any of the other figures from the Clone Wars era. But
okie.
But you've not got any of the Star Wars Black Series, have you?
No, Thomas has got a few in his
has he?
toy box. Mostly the ones that were on bargain basement sale when they came out. So we've got
you've got the shitters Rose and Dryden Voss and all those guys.
He's got a nice Solo from the Solo movie and Lando from the Solo movie.
I found the eye.
Oh, well done. In your tea?
No, not in the tea. In the carpet.
All right, well
Result.
done. I tell you what, I took a photo of the retro Storm Shadow. I stuck it on the Twitter, and as I was taking that photo shoot, I was thinking to myself, "Good grief, there is a load of accessories with this figure. Too many accessories, if anything, and they are small." And,
what have you lost?
Well, I lost one of his shurikens just taking the bloody photo.
Can he hold them though? Can he hold those?
He can hold them nicely, sort of between his. He's got joint, sort of gaps in between his fingers, so he can hold 2 shurikens in his fingers at the same time. So it's quite a nice little touch on his hand that it's got that it gives him the ability to do that. But yeah, they are small and fiddly, my friend.
Okay, all right. Well, speaking of Storm Shadow, Thomas has talked about him for a couple of weeks now. Can he squeeze in another Storm Shadow or not? Let's find out.
Well, he's got the retro figure for Christmas, so there is a new Storm Shadow that he could be talking about.
Kids with toys, Pokemon. Kids with toys, Pennsylvania. Kids with toys, family. Kids with toys, My Little Pony. Kids with toys, Star Wars. Kids with toys, Transformers. Kids with toys, Lego. Kids with toys, G.I. Joe. Yo, Joe! Hello.
Hello, Thomas. You're back again with some toys, are you?
Yep.
So what have you got for us this week? Is it something you got for Christmas?
Maybe.
By
Here
maybe,
it is.
yes.
So today we've got Kamakuri and a Destro figure.
This is the Valor vs Venom Kamakura version 2 versus Destro version 11 that came out in 2004. So where did this come from, Thomas?
It was a Christmas present from Uncle Peter.
Cool. So it's a double pack. So you've got 2 figures for the price of 1. What have we got? Should we talk about Kamakura? So Kamakura was Snake Eyes' apprentice and was in the Devil's Due comic books as a big character there. Do you want to tell me about the special feature that this guy's got?
So this guy has like a magnet so his sword can connect onto his hand.
Like that, pretty clever. And he's got action in his legs, so you squeeze his legs and his sort of arm sort of goes up and down when it works properly.
It goes up when it's out, I think. Oh yeah, his legs can't bend, that's the problem.
Because of the special action in them.
Yeah, he has this thing around his hand where you can put his gun in.
He's got a special wrist communicator thing that's got a slot that you can fit potential weaponry in, as well as a backpack for his sword. So the other guy in the packet is Destro. What do you think of this guy?
So his helmet is actually quite shiny.
Yeah, he's got a very shiny, chromy faceplate.
Yeah. His head, I think, isn't really the usual figure size.
It's a bit. He's got a bit of a pinhead. Bit small compared to maybe the rest of his proportions.
So he has like this grey jacket with black gloves, doesn't he? And this red, what do you call it?
like a black bandolier, maybe you might call it, sort of a belt strap across his front.
And there's like a V-neck in the jacket, and it shows he's wearing a red top underneath.
Yeah. How would you compare this Destro to the other Destros that you've seen? Like that, you've seen the classic black look and the one with the cape.
Other ones.
Not such a classic look, maybe.
No.
Do you think it would?
I think it's the shine that's done it a bit, and the pinhead.
Do you think he would be Destro in any of your games, or maybe he would be an assistant to Destro?
I think I will play with him, that's for sure.
And his main gun looks to be a
pump shotgun.
A pump shotgun. Okay. Anything else to say about these two bad boys?
One of them is a Joe.
Okay. Anything else to say about the one bad boy and one good boy?
I'd rate this one a 5, really.
Destro 5 and Kamakura. You like your ninjas normally.
6.
6 for Kamakura.
7.
Okay.
7.
So if you're travelling back in 2004 and thinking of buying these two, then that's what Thomas thinks. Anything to say to conclude, Thomas?
Bye!
Okay, so as it turns out, it wasn't Storm Shadow.
No, it wasn't. It was a different ninja, Kamakura.
Yeah.
Yeah, which we've... I don't know if anyone's clamouring to see a new version of him now in the classified range.
Well, you never know. I mean, look, that's the beauty of kind of things like G.I. Joe and Star Wars is your character list is pretty endless. You know, a lot of other, franchises like, Mask and He-Man to a degree or things like that don't necessarily have a massive overabundance of characters, but G.I. Joe especially, take your pick because there's a lot of guys to choose from.
And everyone is someone's favourite.
Well, maybe. Surely no one likes... I'm trying to think, who does no one like? No, maybe you're right. Maybe someone is everyone's favourite. Listen, let's talk about comics. Comic talk. Oh, comic talk. Barry Hammer writes them. Chief and Mark discuss them. Whoa. Comic talk. Oh, comic talk. Larry Hammer writes them. Chief and Mark discuss them. Whoa. Right, on the slate this week is the start of, say it carefully, Snake Hunt. And we're covering the first 3 parts of this 10-parter, covering issues 266, 267, 268. Now, I've read all of this, and I think these three are... It's a good place to start, because this is where the story...
The first 3 issues out of the 10.
This is where the story begins, and it kind of then segues into something else. But
okay.
Let's look at the covers first of all.
Favourite cover?
I think I've got all the A covers, which is the first one I've got
the Aitkins A's.
Cobra Commander chucking some dice.
Yeah. It's nice. It feels like, a lot of the covers we'll talk about in a bit. It feels like it might be a homage of some sort, but I can't think what it would be. So I think this is probably an original, but it's evoking some good old nostalgic Cobra Commander, nastiness and Snake Eyes on dice, which is of course where the term originates. So
yes,
nice concept.
This is, like you said, Robert Atkins doing the cover here, and he actually is the interior artist on these first... Is he the first 3?
First 2.
First 2, and then who do we get? We get Nitho Diaz. We got a rotating art team here.
Yeah, I think they after the first 2, then they alternate every other issue, something like that.
Okay, so I've got some alternate covers here. Cover B is by Jamie Sullivan. I've only got the small one. It looks like, is that Clutch and Stalker? But in front of a van?
Like that to me. Yeah. So I think across these 10, we've got an alternate from Jamie Sullivan on every one. So it sort of creates an overall big picture of the original 13 Joes stood in front of the cartoon style base.
Got it. Okay. That's a train going outside my house. Then we got the John Royal cover, Snake Eyes versus Snake Eyes. No, she's not actually called Snake Eyes. Is she Dawn or is she?
Dawn. Well, I don't. She has been on occasion, but it's mostly Dawn, isn't it?
Yes.
But
and he's not even called Snake Eyes because no one bloody calls him it. They all call him Sean or Throwdown.
Sean or Throwdown, and if pushed, maybe Snake Eyes. But I think they've actually mislabeled those 2 covers, cover R1A and R1B. The first one, I believe, is Nitho Diaz,
yes,
and the second one is John Royal.
Yes, you're right. Now that I look at it, you are 100% correct there. What's this other? There's an interesting one here. One Stop Comic Shop exclusive by Jeff Edwards and Steve Leidick, and it's kind of Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes busting out of the background. Interesting,
Front
but
and
I
back.
don't know if I'm a fan.
Yeah, hard to say from just the thumbnail, to be honest.
Yeah. And then also we've got another one. What's this last one here? Another one-stop shop comic
Jeff
exclusive.
Edwards.
Jeff Edwards. Okay, Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes going at it. Maybe I should have brought these up on the old computer in bigger screens so that when I actually talk about them, I don't have to continuously say, I can't really see much because it's only a small thumbnail. Next week, people. Next week I'm going to do
Next
that.
week, for sure. Okay. And on the back cover, if you've got that in front of you, Chief, is all of the Silent Master variants, which are basically the
yes,
the toy packaging.
that's what you mentioned that last week, didn't you?
Yeah, that they had that in the front of the book, and now they've also got it in the back. But
All right, very good. Is that in the back of the next one? No, just that one.
no, it's just in this one.
All right, let's
So
quickly
we've
look
got
at part
V2.
2.
We got V1, V2, V3. We've got Arctic camo gear from issue number 2. We've got a ripped up costume, and we've got I think it was a cartoon pack one with irradiated Snake Eyes glowing the glowing boots and hands from dealing with some radioactive waste. But yeah, not something to worry about too much.
As you do. All right, 267. We got cover A, Robert Atkins, Stalker shooting down a rattler. This is obviously an homage to something else. What's the cover? I can't think off the top of my head.
It is issue 54, where we replace Stalker with Flint and
at the
replace
fairground.
No, it's
At
not
the
that one.
circus, no?
It's the one where he's parachuting down to be captured by Cobra.
Oh, the Terrordrome.
in
Yes, of
in
course. The other one was
Terrordrome
they were dropping a tank, weren't they? They were dropping the
That's right.
armadillo. Yeah.
And yeah, so on the other one, it was we've got a rattler here on the front cover. In the original cover, it was a fire bat.
Oh, but that one,
Terrordrome.
54. That's not actually Flint, is it? It's Snake Eyes in disguise.
It's Snake Eyes in
Right.
disguise as Flint. Yep.
Okay. Right, so here this is Stalker, but it's not really Stalker, it's Throwdown in disguise as Stalker, maybe.
That's right.
Who knows?
Of course.
Jamie Sullivan, like you said, it looks like part 2. We've got the red-chested brothers there, Grand Slam and Flash, so that'll be good when that image is all put together. John Royal, I quite like this one, the Crimson Twins.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably my favourite one, I think.
Okay, good.
John Royal's a good one. And then Jamie Sullivan with another one, and this is Cobra Commander with a couple of goons. Let's move on to the next one, last one, issue 268. So we've got the Atkins cover. This is another homage, is it, to like one of your favourites? 31
Yeah,
or
that's
32
right.
or something?
31. So it's got Snake Eyes on the ground with Scarlett sort of bearing down over the top of him, framed by a doorway. And the original one had Snake Eyes with Destro looming over him.
That's right, yep. And then the next one is, again, the Jamie Sullivan. For the bigger piece, we'll try and find a good image to post up. And then we've got the John Royal cover girl escaping from some rattlers.
Looks like it.
We've seen that before, haven't we? Not that particular one, but didn't we see Snow Job and cover girl on a skidoo being chased by some aerial cobras recently?
Yeah, not too
Remember that
long
one?
ago. We also had Chuckles in a convertible with a blonde of some description
That's right.
being chased by something in some aerial vehicles as well. So
John Royal,
yeah.
he's into putting cover girl in danger.
yes.
Fair enough. Right, we need to know what's going on, and you need to give us a plot breakdown.
Dr. Mindbender and Cobra Commander sneak a cute little revanche surveillance drone into the pit below Fort Wadsworth. The drone spies Throwdown's sparring session with Scarlet, Helix, Jinx and Bombstrike, but Throwdown spots it and takes it down with a throwing knife. Meanwhile, right outside the main gates of Fort Wadsworth, a suspicious paper girl named Julie goes collecting overdue bills from houses that contain Cobra troops. The Vipers in Staten Island mobilise and attack Fort Wadsworth motor pool. Transported in empty Rabco oil tankers and hiss tanks hidden in the garages nearby, they fight their way into the pit, then use gas to subdue and abduct Snake Eyes. A squad of Cobra Aspid helicopters latch onto the hiss tanks and extract the prisoner and the remaining Cobra troops. The Joes try to stop the Cobra aerial convoy. Ace, Slipstream and Dogfight are called into action, flying the Sky Striker, Conquest and Storm Eagle as they battle it out with Cobra Rattlers and a Night Raven and Mamba in the skies. In the back of the Hiss tank containing Throwdown, he makes an escape and gains control of the Hiss gun turret, which he uses to take out several Cobra aircraft before Laura 343 is able to subdue him with a tranquilizer dart and continue on to Springfield. ...
Very good, very good. Okay, yeah. So this is very much the first part of the storyline where Snake Eyes gets captured. So that's kind of all happens in these 3 issues. I mean, where do you want to start?
Shall we talk about art?
Yes.
So
yes.
we've got Robert Atkins on the first 2 issues. What are we thinking, Chiefy?
I was always a big fan of Robert Atkins' art on that original IDW run. Seeing it now, I'm not so much a fan anymore.
Oh, interesting.
I mean, it's okay. It's okay, but I don't know. Something about it just is not tweaking my berries. I can't put my finger on it. I mean, it's good. It's competent, but flip-flop Chiefy, I prefer the Nitho Diaz issues in this run.
What?
Yeah, you never thought you'd hear me say that.
You've got to be contrary every time.
No, I do.
Okay.
I think Nitho Diaz has come a long way in a short space of time, and I'm still not saying it's my favourite, but I do prefer his issues to Atkins' issues from an art point.
That's an interesting point. So Atkins, I definitely was a big fan of his previous work on IDW. Of course, he was doing different continuity G.I. Joe. So this, I think, is his first time into something substantial in the Larry Hammerverse continuity G.I. Joe. I feel like he's an artist that is just somehow just a complete natural fit with the franchise. That something about his style, following in the footsteps of like Rod Wiggum, very good fit for the franchise. Completely
he's
on point each time with like just the storytelling, but also like sort of portraying each individual Joe in their uniform and doing it very faithfully, all of the little details, and also he always likes to try and bring a little twist of his own to a sort of the redesigns as well.
I think he's a better pin-up artist than a sequential artist myself. I love his pin-ups and his commissions. They're absolutely top drawer. Even though I've got a beef with him about a commission that he never delivered for me, but that's a different story.
That's a whole different insight.
That's a big, long story about that. But anyway, again, I'm not saying it's bad at all, because it's clearly not, and it's good. It is good, but there's just something about it that I can't put my finger on. But still good. I'm not saying it's not good stuff, because it is.
But following up on what you said about the Nitho Diaz issue, I think you're right. That he has come a long way.
That first page on his issue 268 with those aspects coming in, great page.
Great open and it's an opening splash page as well. Love to see that in G.I. Joe. Great shot of all of the aspids over the city carrying the HISS tanks. I think maybe he's sort of pared back some.
Exactly. Yeah, he's toned it down a little bit in terms of every page trying to be an event. You nailed it there. He's trying to just almost tell a better story through his art, and I thought it really good. Really enjoyed that issue. But
slightly. Yeah, he's going for generally slightly more simple layouts. That said, there are definitely lots of pages in there where he's going for more stylistic layouts in terms of the panel arrangements. It's not a square grid every time, but I think he's trying to tone it down a bit, and also that makes the transition between the Atkins art and his art not so jarring. There isn't such a huge gap between them. Between the styles.
Now listen, Cobra Commander's plan is to kidnap Snake Eyes and put him in the brainwave scanner and use him as an agent of evil. Now that just gets me groaning straight away, because I mean, it's just retreading old footage over and over again. It just did not excite me for the basis of a 10-part storyline at all. And his initial goal is to put some Revanche robot into the pit to what was the purpose of that robot again?
It was to surveil the pit and help them plan. Well, it was a little bit conflicted because it sounded like they were coming up with a plan at the same time, but help them plan an invasion and kidnap Snake Eyes.
Right. Yeah, sorry, it wasn't the pit. It's Fort Wadsworth. So
it's a pit beneath Fort Wadsworth. They seem to have two pits.
Sorry, yes,
effectively.
yes. But they think they found that, because they've stationed Laura and all her goons, they think that Fort Wadsworth is no longer abandoned as they presumed it once was. So you're right, yeah. Get some surveillance, some recon into this new location to enable them to then launch an assault. We've never seen them do that before. We've never seen Cobra attack a pit before. So that's something new, at least. What's that, number 7th time, 8th time? Anyway, yeah, and the Joe security is lackluster. Because that little robot thing gets in, piece of piss.
It has. It's a sort of very cute, dinky little robot as well. It's sort of that first page. It's going in there, and it's got its mini revanche lightsaber, which slices a rat in half as it makes its way into the pit.
Sure does. And whilst in the pit, let's just talk about this fight scene quickly. Some silly fight scene that's horrifically staged. Snake Eyes up on a big podium and then 4 others on little podiums, and they have to try and take him down.
And and Scarlett's got her crossbow with some sort of arrow with a little knocky thing at the end of it. Well, I don't know what
nubbin on the end.
A nubbin on the end of it, thanks, Chief. Whereas all of the others, they seem to have, sharpened blades. Bomb Striker's got a knuckle duster, trench knife thing going on there. Some people have got a little bit more lethality, if that's a word, in their weapons than others.
We're led to believe they were trying to kill him. I don't know, maybe not, because he's the only one who flips the blade. So he's using the blunt part of the blade, whereas none of those others flip their blades. They're trying to hack off a limb off this guy. Anyway,
I think maybe they're just so confident in Snake Eyes' abilities that they know, from the off, that they've got no chance. As much as they might be trying in earnest to kill him.
Yes.
He can just paff them off.
Yeah, and he does. He pretty much takes out this little robot thing, which the game's up, and Joe's just make a joke about it. Don't they say something like, "We better contact old Mainframe and tell him to beef up our security or something." And they're like, ha ha ha, pass the Yojo Cola. And he actually does. Wait a minute, he does pass the Yojo Cola.
He does.
Then they have a big spiel about what a sub is called.
Yeah.
Don't know, weird.
This was going to be my colloquialism of the week.
Okay.
So let's do it now.
Let's do it now.
There used to be a pudding that was over-egged. You know the pudding. You know the pudding. At first it was British, but then it was Commonwealth. You know the pudding. You know the pudding. But now there's a new player in town, a comic book writer of some renown. He's using real world examples and peppering the issues with lots of samples. It's a Larry Hammer colloquialism. He's talking G.I. Joe and all its heroism. Can you guess what it is? Is it something new? Now listen as Larry drops a slice of real life on you.
So, colloquialisms for Larry's at it. He's just giving a list of colloquialisms for sub sandwiches. So we've got subs, hoagies, heroes, grinders, and po' boys.
Yes. Are you giving origins of all those in terms of
I'm not giving
destinations?
Origins for none of them, mate. I'm just listing them out. Have you got a go-to description for a sub sandwich, or even full stop a sandwich?
I like to just say sandwich. If there's bread involved, it's a sandwich.
Sandwich, yeah.
I tell you what, I love a sandwich.
I love a sandwich. I
like good sandwich. Sandwiches can go
hot
bad.
Or a toasted sandwich.
Yeah, hot toasted. Sandwiches can go bad, but when a sandwich is good, I mean that's the one. I'm telling you.
What would be your go-to bread for the 10 out of 10 sandwich?
That's one of my 2021 resolutions. Is to well, it's either one of two. I can't decide. Eat more bread or eat less bread. I'm undecided which one. I know it probably should be eat less bread, but hot damn, I love bread. So,
eat less, but up the quality, maybe.
Love bagels, love crumpets, I love sourdoughs, I love ciabattas, I love naan
focaccia.
breads. Oh, I love a focaccia. I make a mean focaccia. I love bread. I'm going to have some bread after this. Love bread. Anyway, where were we? It's not the bread show. Tell you what, there's a spin-off here. Who wants to hear me and Funky Bunch do a weekly 15-minute bread show? Silence. I do. I'm one. I'll vote for it. Yeah, so then the other kind of big part of these three issues is over in Fort Wadsworth area, just outside, we have, like you mentioned, this nosy, busybody paper girl and a big station of cobras that's headed by Laura. And I don't know how to say this without sounding sexist, but Larry, I feel like I'm all for more, women in pop culture and content and media and everything, but it feels like he's almost overcompensating. So, he's had 4 females just trying to take Snake Eyes down, and this new lead Cobra happens to be a female. And again, I don't want it, maybe I am coming across as sexist, I don't want it to be that way, but it feels like he's just trying to plug in as many females as he possibly can, rather than it seem a bit more organic.
Over-egging the Pudding Club.
Am I out of line or not?
I don't know. Yeah, I see what you're saying. I mean, it certainly seems to be a trend in terms of the balance of characters, is that Larry is massively leaning into using female characters where he can.
I guess it's got to start somewhere. There's no point in introducing them slowly, 1 or 2 a year, because it's going to take far too long for the balance to have kind of shifted. So maybe it is right. Maybe just cram as many in now as you possibly can, and then you've got all those new characters to play with over the coming years.
Yeah, and I think what they're doing here with this female Crimson Guard is that by having her as a woman, it's shorthand for saying here's a new Crimson Guard that we've never seen before.
Yeah.
Brand new character.
Yeah.
And having that Crimson Guard character being clearly very distinguishable from any of the existing Crimson Guards that we've
she's
seen
cool.
before.
I like her, apart from her being an absolute chump when we find out later in the storyline. And Larry just ruins her as a character by some of the decisions he makes with her. But she's a great introduction. I'd rather see her than Helix, for example.
Right, sure.
But yeah, no, Laura. So, and she's the boss. She's in charge, which is cool. And she's trying to scrounge up some cash monies from these other Cobras, because she's got to pay off the paper girl.
Yeah, she's got. Is it $22, and she wants an additional $5 for a tip to get to $28. So it's like a 20% tip, which I guess is quite common in America. You kind of go for quite a chunky chip to make up for the poor wages that are paid as the baseline. In the next issue, I'm sure she says I should have given her $40. That would have been a mammoth tip. But anyway, this is a problem I've got with this storyline overall. When it happens, it feels like Larry's trying to put some comedy, light touch elements into the story, and none of them work for me. Just her trying to scrounge up $5 from these Cobras, just don't get it. It just doesn't fall flat to me. Well, it's funny though, isn't it, that in I guess it is a modern predicament that no one carries cash anymore,
right?
And if you're maybe in your Cobra uniform as well, if you've got your money pouch on you, who knows? So yeah, I could imagine that it is quite difficult potentially to scrounge up money when everything's being done on cards.
Yes.
But this paper girl, it was quite a big deal was made out of introducing this character, which I don't imagine goes anywhere unless her parents die, and then she joins a ninja dojo.
She gets a lot of page.
No dojo.
Maybe she is a dodo. Hopefully she goes that way. But listen, she gets a lot of page time just as the nosy busybody, and she's going to shop them to the cops if they don't, because she thinks it's suspicious that there's noise going on in a house and no one's answering the door. I mean, come on. Yeah. Well, anyway. And then what should be more suspicious is the big truck coming in that says Rabco on the side.
Rabco. I mean, if you were in G.I. Joe, you must have some sort of camera surveillance going on, just looking for the different combinations of the letters that make up the word Cobra, and having that as a big red flag. Yeah. Never mind the fact it's not Yo-Joe oil or whoever it is that normally supplies you. The fact that it's got Cobra written on the side of the van with the letters jumbles around is a red flag.
Also, Joes are getting a bit merciless and hardcore. We saw Alpine recently mow down guys who hadn't even raised a gun to him, and here Clutch, all he hears is a click, and then he opens up, blasts this guy in the face.
That could have been his seatbelt.
Could have been his seatbelt. Jeez.
It's like, yeah, click and then boom to the head.
Murder
Blam.
101.
He says, should have eased off the safety before you got here, chump.
Yeah.
Blam.
Well, he was a
Blammo.
chump, yeah.
Ooh. And yeah, it was an interesting that in the sort of the ensuing firefight, the Cobra's getting shot and killed left, right, and centre, whereas the Cobras seem to be a lot more respectful of their foes, and the Joes are all left intact and alive, despite the opportunity to kill them off.
You say that, but there's one page here where a heat viper shoots rock and roll point blank, and somehow he survives.
Yeah,
I thought he was. I assumed he was dead at that point.
It was quite the explosion. Let me find
Find that
the panel
page.
where he takes it.
He gets a Pathoom.
Ooh, yeah, is a perfume.
Yeah.
Behind him and yeah, sort of tearing off the back of his clothes.
Maybe I did Atkins a bit of a disservice. I'm flicking through this pages, and it is good stuff. These action scenes are nice. I think some of his faces put me off a little bit. Yeah. Maybe I did him. It's good stuff.
I think at times his faces are not as strong as as him drawing a more helmeted look.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah.
And they, by the end of part 2, they've already captured Snake Eyes. He's already, roped up in an aspid and being transported away. That was double quick time.
Yeah.
I mean, why couldn't they do? Why didn't Cobra Commander start doing this in issue 3 or something?
Well, it's not the first time that Snake Eyes has been captured by a Cobra, or indeed been put into a brainwave scanner by Cobra. The second issue that we were looking at had a cover which was a homage to issue 54, which was an issue where Snake Eyes was captured and put into a brainwave scanner. And Snake Eyes was also in a brainwave scanner at the very beginning of the IDW run in around about issue 160. So, yeah, I think the concept of Snake Eyes being a badass, which seems to be a revelation to Cobra Commander after seeing him in that training exercise, is slightly strange. And also the sort of the light bulb moment of what would happen if we put Snake Eyes in a brainwave scanner is also a bit of old ground to be honest.
Yes.
But as bad as the Cobras are at coming up with new ideas and repeating themselves of just positioning themselves right outside Fort Wadsworth, that maybe they're just continuing on the same lease that the original Fred had in terms of where they've positioned themselves. It wasn't that long ago that the G.I. Joes and specifically even Throwdown went back to his old house and found that there was a Cobra, a CG called Darren, who was there.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
The Joe should have been very well aware that Cobras were there on their doorstep, but 4 houses right next to the front gate, and nary them noticing, and also sneaking in 4 his tanks at some point into the garage, presumably.
Those high ceiling garages. This last part we're going to cover today kind of consists of a couple of main bits. One is them getting Snake Eyes out and him managing to escape and from his ropes effectively, and then him being brought down by Laura. And then the other bit is Cobra's taking out the Joe's Deus Ex Machina, which is that stupid laser cannon thing in the sky run by Joe and Jane Colton.
Should we talk about the laser?
Let's talk about the laser. Yeah.
There is the word you said and is completely accurate, is Deus Ex Machina. It's just completely overpowered and would seem to get the Joes out of any trouble at all. And it's almost like why when you're going on any mission would you not try and utilize that given its accuracy and awesomeness to get you out of almost every situation.
And in fact, I think I misspoke. I can't even speak. I misspoke. I got it wrong. Cobras don't actually blow up that satellite in this issue. It's in one coming
later
up.
on, isn't it?
Yeah, next one along.
Mind you, I'll no prize myself a little bit that in an earlier issue they did talk about the fact that because this satellite is so powerful that anytime it is used, needs a specific sign-off from the president.
Yes.
Which would limit their ability to readily use it at any eventuality. But
Okay.
I don't think they try and get a sign-off from the president for this time round.
No. And what Cobras have done here, very cleverly, is they've got multiple hiss tanks being carried, and they kind of try and disguise which one Snake Eyes is in. But that doesn't really stop them the Joes engaging in a massive firefight over a heavily populated area.
Yeah,
which was
not terribly successfully either, because most of the Joes get shot down, don't they?
Yes, correct. Yeah. But like I said earlier, the art here is quite nice. I do think Diaz is definitely doing a good job here.
Yeah, and it's nice to see a Stratoviper there back up in the air as well. And it does seem to be part of the job requirement that to be a Stratoviper, you also have to be a King Dick in terms of your attitude.
Yes, correct, yeah.
Because he's off doing all of his own stuff, not listening to orders or anything.
Yeah.
What is it they say? Is that Night Raven pilot insane? He's supposed to stay in formation and provide us with cover. Nah, do what you want. Mate.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
to hell with you.
Very good. Snake Eyes gets out quite easily from his bonds, and like we said, he's on a turret in a hiss tank shooting down other Cobras, and this is where Laura pops up with a trank gun. Why not just put him in a trank gun when he got in the helicopter?
I mean, yeah. Given what they know about Snake Eyes, to have one solitary Night Viper just looming over him to give him some cover and stop him from trying to escape, and actually trying to engage him in fisticuffs, that just seems like a bad idea, doesn't it?
Wait until you see how many people they have guarding him when he's in the prison. You think it should be about 20 million? No, 1. Anyway, we'll get to that.
We'll get to that bit. But it was a cool sequence when Snake Eyes did escape, and at one point, he sort of grabs out the knife out of the Alley Viper, which out of his uniform, which is a nice little touch, because in the more recent versions of that Alley Viper toy, that knife is removable on his just above his chest, almost too removable. It's a bit loose. Right. And then he's up in the tower of the hiss, and he's sort of blasting away at all of the other aspids and taking them down. They can tell which aspid Snake Eyes is in, is because that's the one that is firing at the other aspids via the turret of a hiss. That bit where he's shooting the turret of the hiss dangling down, that put me a bit in mind of I don't know if you've watched this or can remember it, Chief, the A-Team movie.
The A-Team, the shit remake.
The shit remake, thanks. Yeah. there's a bit where there's a Hercules tank which is parachuting down.
Yes.
And it's shooting at some drones in the air, which is probably the most memorable part of the film. Cool little clip. So put me in mind of that a little bit. I don't know if Larry had that in mind when he was thinking of this sequence. It's not necessarily, it's different enough that it's not a carbon copy. So who knows? But
yes.
Moving on. What's next, Chief?
Well, I was just going to say we can probably hit up some stuff that you've spotted or something that Larry said. But before we do that, I just want to point out, this is probably going to get an extra quarter of a mark from me, but my comic smells great. It's got that kind of almost old-timey smell, not quite newsprint, and it's also got my pages are ever so slightly got a textured feel to them.
Yeah, they've
got the same
used
or not?
A different. Yeah, they've used it. You're right. Ooh, that is a good smell.
It's a good smell, isn't it?
They've got a different paper stock on these, so the covers are less sort of glossy and shiny. Than they were, and like you said, it's got a little bit of texture to them.
Very fine bit of texture, but really enjoyed that.
Distinctive smell. Yeah. An extra point, extra quarter of a point. Yeah.
Good. What's Larry been up to?
I spy with my little eye.
Okay, so this arc promises to have an appearance by every living member of G.I. Joe and Cobra, and I think they've made quite a slow start to that. So we've had a tick off of
definitely.
the of the Fort Wadsworth crew and also the San Francisco crew who were visiting. But we've not seen too exhaustive a list in these original 3 issues. But he has clearly gone to a bit of effort to try and incorporate a fair variety of Cobra troops. So I counted Techno-Vipers and Tele-Vipers with Cobra Commander monitoring the drone. We had an Eel, several His tank drivers, Toxo Vipers, and Standard Vipers plus Cobra Troopers over with Laura. And then as they attack, we had Heat Vipers, Alley Vipers, Night Vipers, Night Creepers, and more Crimson Guards men and women. We had Frag Viper in the tankers as well, Gyro Vipers in the Aspid Rattler pilots, brackets Wild Weasels, in the Rattlers, and Strato Vipers. So a fair amount of variety of the troopers there.
Very good.
So, and hats off to Robert Atkins for...
Who made this claim about every living character appearing?
It's kind of in the trail to this arc. In the letter pages, they talk about the upcoming snake hunt, aiming to use every living Joe and Cobra characters, and most likely some of the non-living ones too, knowing their track record.
From the ARAH comic continuity, I assume, not including toys. Yep.
It's in the issue 265 before this, there's an advert trailing this. It says, Snake Hunt, Cobra Commander strikes at the legacy of Snake Eyes. A 10-issue epic featuring every living member of G.I. Joe.
Right, okay, very good, very good. Spot anything else?
So I spotted in 266 what I think is the first appearance of the G.I. Joe Patriot Grizzly tank.
Okay.
And in 268, joining the Joes in the Sky was probably the first appearance of the 1992 Storm Eagle ATF Advanced Tactical Fighter, which I think was the one which only had 2 missiles, so was pretty quickly Winchester, as they say,
yes,
in this mission. And that was it, but for goofs, we had a few to choose from.
Hit me.
Error detected. Error detected. No prize incoming.
So this first one is less a goof and more just an observation of use of language. This was something that Chuck Goran over on the Option 38 website noticed, which was during the sparring with Throwdown, Bombstrike and Helix. They say, let's tag team him. But he notes that if 2 people do something at once, that is not tag teaming, it is double teaming. Sounds a little bit ruder though. If Bombstrike and Helix were to actually tag team, that would mean that Bombstrike would attack first, tag out to Helix, who would take her place and attack Throwdown, whereas they are trying to attack him simultaneously.
Okay, that guy needs to get out a bit more.
Jeez, I think it's just a bugbear around the use of the words. Okay. Unsurprisingly, given the number of Cobra troopers involved, there were a few colouring goofs. So in particular, in 267, there was quite a few instances where Alley Vipers and Night Vipers were interchangeably miscoloured. So Night Viper in orange and a Alley Viper in green.
Right, yep.
Could no prize it if you like, but not much point there. Yeah, I think a Night Viper in neon orange doesn't make a huge amount of sense as a uniform design, to be honest. So a more striking plot error to explain away is that when Throwdown got his new duds in issue 226, they made a big deal of having a splash page just showing the new outfit, showing it off, and in that description it said that he had a built-in gas mask and oxygen respirator for short-term underwater activity. So I don't know that he should have been taken down by that gas quite as easily as he did.
No.
Mind you, the Snake Eyes costume as depicted by Atkins is a different design to the one that was featured as Throwdown's brand new look in 226, which was a bit more sort of insectoid, wasn't it?
Yes, correct.
Whereas this is closer to an original V1 Commando look. So maybe he swapped out his mask, and this one doesn't have such good gas
fair
protection. Rock and roll. We talked about rock and roll and his explosion that looked like he was pretty badly taken down by that. But in the next issue, back in 268, he's back in action, looking not at all too worse for wear.
Just a tough old sumbitch.
No prize that. Yeah. He's just tough sumbitch. Nice. They made quite a big play of featuring Snake Eyes' new sword in issue 266 and 7 in that sparring sequence and the combat sequence that followed with the Cobras. But then when we switch to 268 and a different artist, being Nitho Diaz, it's a completely different sword that Dawn picks up and makes a comment about... makes a weird comment. Dawn leans down and says, "Looks like Sean dropped his sword. Oh my god. It feels like it was made from my hand. You freak." She's already got 2 swords on her back, and those are meant to be the most powerful swords in the world, aren't they?
Greedy.
Morning Dawn and Evening Shade or whatnot.
Yeah, greedy sumbitch.
Oh, and this isn't an error, but something that I meant to cover in just our discussion was during that dueling sequence. There's just a funny moment, isn't there, with Scarlett, where she's been knocked in the head by what do you call it, a nubbin?
Yeah, nubbin.
and after the dueling, Sean almost caressing her face, sort of brushing her hair out of her face to kind of look at the knock on Scarlett's head, and she says, "Don't apologise, Sean. I should have seen it coming." So it feels like they're sort of continuing to lean into this kind of Sean, Scarlett, slightly creepy flirtation dynamic.
Yeah. We'll see where that goes. Nowhere.
All the way to the bedroom.
Yeah.
Chicka-chung.
Wow, that's the X-rated version.
It's business time, Sean. And with the end of the goofs, which are maybe a hammerism, let's look at some other hammer times.
Stop! Hammer time!
Time to beat the soles of your boots with my face. Sucking chest wounds, red ninjas, brain scanners, rubber oozes, blue ninjas. And then some more sucking chest wounds. Hammer time!
What you got for me? I didn't spot any, I don't think.
So I think we've had enough instances of this in the book that it is now a hammerism. It's the Joes talking about Sean's code name.
Right, okay.
And yet again, in issue 266 on page 2 there, what is it? Clutch and Rock and Roll, I think, are driving in. And they say, "I can't get used to Throwdown, but I guess it will grow on me." And later there's obviously the spy drone, and they shoot it down, and I think it's Scarlett says, did anyone call Throwdown Sean in front of the spy drone? When they are literally holding the spy drone in their hand.
Yeah.
And they're still continuing to call him Sean and Throwdown with that drone being there. There could have been 2, and it could have been that just, throwing a knife through its head doesn't take out its audio receptors. So pretty poor discipline there to me. We also see a use of a phrase that Larry's partial to, which is in 267, where Laura says, "No plan survives the first shot," and this plan got shredded but good.
Right, okay.
And that was me done.
Very good. Well done, Larry. Favourite line of dialogue?
Quote of the week, 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 quote of the week.
Don't have one.
Don't have one? Well, I've got a soft spot for any time that Cobra Commander and Mindbender are together. We'll generally find some piece of gold there.
Yes.
And this is no different. Cobra Commander, "You're such a sycophantic lick-spittle, Mindbender, but at least you're shameless about it."
True, that is true.
Sycophantic lick-spittle.
Yep, going to say that to the missus later, see what happens. Nothing good.
Oh.
Right, I mean, this is, like we said, the beginning of the storyline. We've got 7 more issues to go, but we'll give this a little yo-joage on what we've read, and then we can give the whole story arc its official ranking at the end. So what are you coming in with here?
So I think it starts slow. We're not sort of in issue 1 bang into the action. It feels like they're sort of trying to do a little bit of a recap for people who are potentially using this as a jumping on point, or maybe reading it as the first issue in the trade. So it says a slow opening, but I like the art in all of 3 issues. I think they've done well. I think there's some cool action sequences, and it does just zip along. So for any of the faults there might be, I did enjoy it quite a lot even still. So I think I'll go quite high with this one versus some of the other issues that we've had lately. I think I'm going to go 7.5.
7.5 from Funky Bunch. Chief coming in with a 6. Just the setup just had me on a downer straight away. Cobra Commander yet again trying to kidnap Snake Eyes. That stupid paper girl. Not doing it for me. We'll see if that can go up with future issues. Prediction, no.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. More next week. We don't know what we're going to do next week in terms of number of issues. Read at least 3 of them, and you'll probably be in a good place. I think I had a little look. I was thinking maybe 2. Maybe we do 2 next week.
Okay. All right. Okay. Good stuff.
We'll see.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there was a lot of plot threads in flight that we didn't even get touched on in these. So we had the whole Destro Robo Zombie thing going on, and we also had the October Guards, the setup for that, which we've not seen come into play yet in the issues. So hopefully those will be picked up on maybe even next time.
Yeah, very good, very good. Right now though, I want to hear about toys. Wash this taste out of my mouth. What you got for me?
Mark talks about toys, ho ho. He talks about G.I. Joe. He talks about all the toys from the comic book and the animated show. Mark talks about toys. Mark talks about toys.
Chief's got a guess.
You've got a guess,
Chief is guessing. Well, look, every living Joe in memorable history. not particularly in these 3 issues, but I mean, this is going to be a crapshoot right now, isn't it? Surely.
Do you want me to give you a hint?
Is it a Joe or a Cobra?
So it's a Joe,
and
it's one that you have very regularly tried to guess as being the Joe that I would select, but
Cover Girl.
She's not in this yet, is she? She's on the cover, maybe.
Right, okay. I say this one often, and it's never right. It's not going to be one of those early Joes because they're quite boring in terms of figures, I guess. So
yeah, go in that direction. Yeah,
it is. Let me just grab an issue and flick through here. It is going to be. It's a guy who flies a plane, I think, or an aircraft. Is what I'm thinking.
Or uses a sword.
Or uses a sword. Yes. Quite often uses a sword. This character. And who uses a sword in this? It's not Snake Eyes. It's Jinx. No, you've done Jinx. Who uses Budo? First guess.
So well done, Chiefy. First time, yet again. I don't know how you do it.
Oh, it's an innate skill. Tell me about this guy.
So is this a figure that you had back in the day?
Not me. Ben had him, so aware of him, and I don't know if I liked him or not. Was it just too wacky? Is it? I mean, I know Joe is wacky in general, and I know I actually like wacky, so I like him now. But at the time, I think he was too wacky for me as a kid.
Too wacky, maybe. So he was from '88. Budo came with a red and silver samurai headgear, brown backpack, a red sword, a silver ornamental sword which you could hang on his belt, and a silver sai. So his main sword for actual combat use was red, which is a little bit weird, but
so that's the same as Storm Shadow version 2, though. He came with red
exactly.
Sword.
Yeah. Different sword though. I don't think it was the same one. And what I liked about this guy was, once you took off his helmet, he had that sort of distinctive, almost mohawk haircut. He had a face with a lot of character to it, and his top, it was like armored, so you could kind of imagine scenarios where he's got sort of quite almost like a flak jacket, sort of quite an armoured kind of look to him, so he could be in sort of heavy combat scenarios. And yeah, sort of just quite a cool, distinctive look to him. So yeah, I was probably less keen on probably using him almost in the way that he was designed to be used as an actual samurai.
Yeah, figure's pretty interesting though. You know, there's enough going on there.
Yeah, and unique without looking gaudy or silly. And yeah, in modern eras, I think they've done a couple of sort of different sort of takes on him, which have also been interesting. Though I've not had those figures, so I won't go down that lane. So we've got, his name is Kyle A. Gesso, and was born in California. Primary specialty, which you might not guess, would be infantry, and secondary specialty, hand-to-hand combat instructor. Budo's father was an orthodontist in Oakland. His grandfather was a farmer in Fresno. His great-grandfather was a track worker on the Rocky Mountain line, and his great-great-grandfather was a fencing master in one of the last great samurai warrior families of Japan.
Wow.
On his 18th birthday, he was given the family swords and a haiku written by his ancestor. The great sword sheathed glitters brightly in the dark, unseen and at rest. The man has a 5th degree black belt in Lido, the art of the live blade, and a similar rank in 3 other martial arts. He could have even higher rankings if he didn't spend so much time working on his chopped panhead Harley and listening to heavy metal.
Okay. Didn't know that. Now, I know this is, talking about the figure itself, the action figure, but I want to stray away from that just for a brief moment to say, have they retconned in his inclusion in the Arashikage clan, or was that from the beginning?
I don't think that was there from the beginning. He's, from his file card and his early introduction, in that. You'll remember the issue number, I'm sure, the one with Repeater on the front cover, where he's a part of that boot camp where they join Repeater, Budo, and Lightfoot, isn't it?
Yes, correct.
And yeah, so he was kind of a standalone samurai character, but it seems subsequently in this IDW era they've sort of drawn him closer into the Arashikage kind of niche, where he's sort of heading up that dojo in San Francisco, and was on the mission in Japan for the dawn of the Arashikage arc, but right. Wasn't, because Correct. It wasn't him there. It was actually Zartan.
Yeah. Does that helmet? It's obviously removable. Is it a good tight fit? Welcome to the hat rack. We got the inside track. Welcome to the hat rack. This is the hat soundtrack.
Yeah, it's a pretty good fit, as I recall. Yeah. Not too much wobble to it, so once it's on, I think it would stay on.
Yeah. Now, what advantage does that give him wearing that helmet in a firefight?
Probably as much as
opposed to a regular hard hat.
Well, maybe not much more than a normal army hat.
More than Gung-Ho's cap, though, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, I've got a rap about that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you have. Yeah, very good one as well. Yes, so, Budo, there he is. I think Larry has obviously started to, bring him back into the fold and utilise him a bit more, and not even as a periphery character. He's definitely in charge of that dojo, training up those couple of young punks. So
yeah, I think it's a case where there's a few characters in this new one where sort of, Larry's had a chance to kind of reevaluate them and sort of have a bit more of a fondness to them, whereas initially he kind of didn't really use them so much, or kind of wrote them off a little bit. So the likes of Crystal Ball, for example, being another character that he didn't really use in the original run, but subsequently has developed a little bit more of a fondness.
Yeah, that idiot shows up in the next couple of issues. So look out for that. Good stuff. More toys next week. Now we need to go to listener question, and I think we're on the same track that we were on last week.
Question, tell me what you think about TV. Do you buy toys and buy other things? Who's your favourite guy from that movie? What are the UK pedestrian crossings? Question, what did we ask this week? Let's find out as we speak. Yeah, so we asked over on the social medias our lovely loyal listeners to come up with ideas for new segments that we could create jingles for, and then do a little test run on the show, see if we like them and if they work out, and if they feel they're good enough to actually then include as a regular feature.
That's it.
So this week we are featuring PvP from Chris, who suggested this one. And Chief, did you come up with a jingle for this?
I did, yeah. This is basically chuck two people into a fighting pit or an arena and see what happens.
That's about the size of it.
In that case, yes, I did come up with a jingle, and you'll be pleased to know that it is sub 25 seconds. Roll it. In the battle arena, the crowd goes crazy. A fight to the death, so don't get lazy. Two go in, one comes out. Who's got the power? Who's got the clout? PvP, who's got the flavor? PvP, a battle to savor. PvP, who's the death slayer? PvP, it's player versus player. Okay, there you go. Little bite size.
Holy moly.
Yeah, you wouldn't believe
Love
it.
it.
Would not believe it. Now, your one might even be shorter than that. Or is it?
Well, I thought after last week that I was somewhat left in the dust, and I don't know about everyone else, but I've been singing to myself.
Oh, that's very kind of you.
Welcome to the hat rack. It's been a bit of an earworm.
Oh dear.
So yeah, I think as much as I was pleased with my jingle last time round, I think you probably were the victor there.
Okay.
So yeah, I felt not to be undone, that I should actually, really go for it this week and do my own song. So I did it.
Okay, here it is. Let's listen, people.
Fight!
PV, 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 PV. Player versus player combat scores.
One!
Dr. Mindbender is here, mustache like a buccaneer, large codpiece, Will Shakespeare, easily pull on that nasal hair.
Two!
Gung-ho, here for G.I. Joe, bare chest show, his marine tattoo, no headgear for combat debut, hit on the head with a flying horseshoe.
Three!
Big boa in for the triple, boxing gloves give no acquittal, chest muscles all a ripple, no defense from a cripple nipple. Player versus player, Cobra versus Joe. PvP. Player versus player, who wins solo? PvP.
Four!
Snow job, he's on his skis. Vaccine to the cobra disease. Avalanche from a mountain breeze. Bury him in a terrible freeze.
Five!
Firefly, camo in grey. Outfit changes on its way. Neon green to our dismay. And shot by a sniper straight away.
Six!
Mutt here with his loyal hand. Junkyard, the best dog around. Bounding, follow that sound. Quicksand, they both drowned.
Seven!
Scrap iron, the missile guy. Guaranteed to satisfy. In his sights, say bye-bye. But a misfire blows him into the sky.
Eight!
Wild Bill in a dragonfly. Cobras prepare to die. But refueling passed him by. Chopper fools, okay, bye.
Nine!
Major Blood with his eye patch. Helmet looks a bit much. Dog tags give him a scratch. Tetanus, a slow dispatch.
Final!
All the Cobras and Joes dueling like banjos, expending their ammo, ready to give us all a show.
You win!
Player versus player, Cobra versus Joe. PvP. Player versus player, Cobra versus Joe.
There you go, Funky Bunch standing up strong with that effort. Good. I like it a lot.
Oh dear.
Good. How's the family like that one? Yeah, they just sort of try and they sort of pull awkward faces and try and change the subject. Yeah, when I played Hat Rack to the missus, she just looked at me and said, "Are you speaking actual words?" So she didn't know what was going on. Just brain fuzzled her. But anyway, listen, let's cut to the meat of the issue. We didn't give much notice. We popped out a question only a few hours ago saying, listen, give us some tandems you want them matched up against each other, and we actually chose Alpine versus Rock Viper. Who sent us in that one?
It was Andrew over on the Facebook group that
Yes.
suggested that combo.
Yes. So listen, I guess the deal here is these two are in a fight. It's Rock Viper, just a solitary one, I guess, versus Alpine, and who is going to come out in that real world scrap? What's your initial thinking? How is Alpine possibly going to win the day here?
Well, the first thought that I had is that they've both got moustaches, so they're drawn there. That's giving neither one of them the advantage over the other that it might otherwise do.
Tie ball game.
Yeah, I mean they're both both very much in that same speciality of being mountain troopers. Is this combat going to occur on the mountain? Or could it be that they've unfortunately found themselves completely in a different environment
like
altogether? The desert.
Yeah.
and they're already on the back foot, both of them.
Yes, yeah. That's interesting. That is interesting. I think so. Do you give Alpine? Where's he from? Is he from Morocco? Alpine. If you read Action Force, I think he was.
Yeah,
I
think in Action Force he may have they were given different birthplaces to the GI Joes. In GI Joe he was from Idaho.
Okay. And
in his file card he was originally from the middle of a flat, dusty Snake River plain.
Okay,
and,
so if they're fighting in dusty Snake Rivers, he's got the advantage.
He could be. Yeah. Could be.
Yeah. I thought what might happen is Alpine it says on his file card that he's very good at climbing, especially when it's nighttime or when it's in bad weather. So I figured the Rock Viper could get onto his Cobra scientists, and like Judge Dredd's got that weather machine in Mega City Central where they can change the weather. Well, the Rock Viper gets his scientists to change the weather to make it bright and sunny, and that eliminates Alpine's advantage for climbing in bad conditions.
Hazardous conditions.
Exactly.
Yeah, taken away by the weather dominator.
Yes, and then also Rock Vipers are they're like the strongest person ever, because during their training they have to carry 250 feet of rope. Now I don't know how much 250 feet of rope is, but coiled up,
sounds like
that's
lot.
about the size of an elephant, surely. So he is carrying that rope, and that ain't light. So these are they're roided up super muscle men. They're super strong. What he's going to do is he's going to fire his rocket-assisted tungsten steel grappling hook into Alpine's. He's actually got a jetpack, hasn't he, Alpine, according to his file card?
Jetpack? What are you talking about,
Yeah,
Willis?
sure he has a jetpack, doesn't he?
He doesn't have a jetpack.
No? Right, I'm looking up his file card. He's got a jetpack.
He hasn't got a jetpack. He's just got a mountain backpack which has a climbing axe that can attach to it.
G.I. Joe file card. While I'm looking that up, he's firing this into his backpack and then just basically jumping off the mountain with pulling Alpine with him. And the Rock Viper don't care, because during his training, like I say, he's got 250 foot of rope, but he's got to go down a 500 foot mountain. So that basically says he's got to jump and hope for the best. So he is qualified at jumping from 250 feet up and surviving. Well, actually 50% of the squad do die during training, but he has no fear, and he will just pull Alpine down to his death.
Alpine's got fear on his side. He wants he wants to get to the end of the mission and on to the next one. Whereas Rock Viper, he's just he's dead inside already, isn't he?
Yes,
and,
yes. And also, if that doesn't work,
devotion.
Alpine is going to throw him a massive tax problem his way, because we all know that Alpine's secondary specialty is a finance clerk.
It's true.
And he's just going to chuck that at him and just confound him with, oh, wait a minute, I've got to do this tax problem right now.
He'll just start bamboozling him with asking about what the current rates are and how to best deal with the VAT forms that he's got to file in this post-Brexit world.
That's it, exactly, exactly.
Quagmire.
Yeah. Wait a minute, here you go. Pine can climb it. For all that, he can easily switch gears and climbs into a jet backpack to battle Cobra on his file card. There you go.
What are you looking at?
Jet backpack. I'm looking at it. Mountain Trooper.
Where?
Alpine.
10 Hut. Fact checking Joe here. Chief is referring to the file card which came with Alpine version 5 in 2008. This figure was released as part of the DVD Battles pack. The set included Cobra Commander, Cobra Paratrooper Duke, and Cobra Claw, and the DVD, the best of 80s episodes. And most significantly, it contained a jump jetpack, hence the reference to Alpine's newly found jetpack skills. Over and out, and Charlie Mike. Back to Chief and Mark.
Anyway, I think Rock Viper wins, is what I'm saying. Right, I'm not sure if that segment's coming back next week. What shambles?
I don't know. By the time we edited it, oh dear.
We might have a new jingle next week if we like any of the existing ideas, or if you send us in more ideas for new segments that we can write jingles and make a hash out of. So get in contact in all the usual places. That's talking_Joe. That's Talking Joe Comics on Instagram. It's talkingjoecomics@gmail.com, and it's Talking Joe, a G.I. Joe podcast on Facebook. But yeah, good show as always. We'll be catching up on more Snake Hunt next week. We're going to do at least 2 issues of that. So yeah, have a good week, everyone. And when all is said and done, we'll catch you down the road.
Because we've been Talking Joe.
And we're all out of Joes and Cobras, apart from all the ones that are in this Snake Hunt storyline.
Which is every single one.
Every single one. Well, you're probably going to do some research and find out that you've probably got a spreadsheet ready that shows this guy wasn't in it, this guy wasn't in it.
I was thinking about doing that. But...
I knew it. Laters.
Fight!
PvP, 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 PvP. Player versus player combat scores.
You win!
Whoa, Nelly, we've got some extra player versus player. It's Thomas with Kamakura versus Destro. Who's going to be who?
You're gonna have Kamakura.
Okay, I'm Kamakura, and Thomas, you Destro. Who's going to win?
Only one way to find out.
Fight! Ching, 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 ching. Oh, I think Kamakura won that.
Wait.
Oh! Destro still had a bit of life in him, and like a sneaky old baddie, he shot Kamakura as he was walking away. Oh, they've both died.
So
there is no
a
winner.
draw.
It's a draw. Okay, well done. That was it for our extra PvP.
Perfect!